podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. This is episode 1833. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by userway.org. Userway ensures your website is accessible, ADA compliant, and helps your business avoid accessibility-related lawsuits. The perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. It's not only the right thing to do, it's also the law. Go to userway.org/twit for 30% off Userway's AI-powered accessibility solution. And by IT Pro TV. The IT world needs cybersecurity more than ever, along with the qualified people to fill its roles. Get your cybersecurity certs with IT Pro TV. Visit itpro.tv/twit for an additional 30% off all consumer subscriptions for the lifetime of your active subscription. Just use the code TWIT30 at checkout. Well, hey. How are you today, Leo Laporte? Hey. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you could still call. You could just use Skype out or something like that. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Love to hear from you. TechGuyLabs.com is our website. I mentioned that so that you don't have to write anything down as you're listening. If you hear something good, you hear something you want to remember, just go to the website because James DeRuvo is already writing it all down for you. He's our official scribe. The website is, again, TechGuyLabs.com. TechGuyLabs.com. And so by going there, you can just get everything you need. And by the way, you might think, oh, Leo, I know why you're promoting that. You just want to make money. No charge, no sign up, nothing. Just wander in. TechGuyLabs.com. Man, has it been crazy this week for Facebook? Started last week with the Wall Street Journal Facebook Files expose. The Journal got a leaker inside that said Facebook knows all sorts of stuff about how bad it is for people and doesn't do anything about it. For instance, the one that was really scary to people is that Instagram for young girls, if they're already kind of in a bad way, just makes them feel worse. You kind of know that. It's all these people, some of them friends, right? Most of them not. Some of them influencers celebrating what a gorgeous life they have, which is easy to do because the camera doesn't show anything outside the frame, all the messiness of real life. It just shows the good stuff, the stuff you want people to think your life is like. And the problem is that, especially if you're young, I think, you forget that. I always tell my kids, who are often influenced, even though they're in their 20s, they ought to know better, influenced by social media. Never judge your insides by other people's outsides. You're seeing their outsides, their projected, way of being. But, if you're a 13-year-old girl and you're feeling bad about yourself, you think, man, my nose is too big, and you see all these other girls roughly your age and their lives are amazing and their skin is perfect and all that, and you think, what's wrong with me? I can understand that. Facebook apparently knows this, but didn't want anybody else to know it because all the research was internal. They say, we know this and we're doing the best we can. They did decide this week to not do, I'm glad about this, Instagram for kids. Already, thanks to Congress, and I think a good law that says that companies cannot collect information or target kids under 13. The Child Online Privacy and Protection Act, COPPA, said you can't, so that's why when you go to a site and it says, are you over 13? That's why it's doing that. If you're under 13, you're not supposed to be able to sign up for Instagram or Facebook, but they do. because they lie. And Facebook and Instagram don't make much effort to check your age. How could they, really, without collecting information about you, right? So it's kind of a catch-22. So they were going to make an Instagram for kids. They decided not to this week. Or they're putting it on pause. That's Silicon Valley talk for deciding not to. They're putting it on pause. They came to testify in front of Congress. The Senate's a little upset with them. I think there's going to be more fallout. But you know what's interesting is when I watch the local news or the national news or any news, I don't see this story at all. My cohort, tech reporters, tech journalists, we're covering it like crazy, and we're talking about it all the time on our podcasts, and it's a big deal. What's Facebook going to do? But I think the word really hasn't. I mean, the Journal, I guess, right? If you read the Wall Street Journal. But that kind of has limited reach to a certain type. Older people. I don't know. I just don't think most people care much. Facebook seems to continue, and Facebook thinks this for sure. They just continue on doing what they're doing. Just doing their thing. Netflix on Monday put out a list of its top shows and movies of all time. And I'm going to fall for it and cover it. Bridgerton, the most watched TV series ever on Netflix. But, that's pretty good. I think probably ranks up there with everything else. 82 million subscribers tuned in for at least 2 minutes in its first month. I tuned in for 2 minutes exactly and then said, not for me, not interested, moved on. It's kind of, it's a romance novel of TV shows. It's okay. Period piece about 19th century British royalty. Second on the list, interesting, Lupin, which is a series in French. It's actually excellent. I did enjoy Lupin. That was number 2 on the list, tied with The Witcher, which is a kind of a comic book about, it actually comes from a game, doesn't it? The Witcher? Or maybe it was a comic book originally, but I played the game. And Henry Cavill, Superman, is The Witcher. Did very well. Among the movies, number 1 film, I didn't see it, Extraction, about a captured CIA agent. These are actually amazing numbers. When you look at it, 99 million people watched it at least for 2 minutes in the first 2 days. 28 days. Bird Box and Spencer Confidential, the second and third most popular films. All of those were Netflix originals. That's all they listed. But it just goes to show you, that's almost 100 million people. 100 million people watching Extraction. That's pretty good. That's a lot of number. Bird Box had the highest engagement. That measures the total number of hours spent watching a series or film. And so not the 2 minutes that I watched Bridgerton. I was not engaged with Bridgerton. Bridgerton, number 1 in engagement, but they don't say how, they don't give the numbers on those. You might want to, because you might do math and say, well, a lot of people watched it for 2 minutes, but not quite so many for many hours. Then Money Heist Part 4 and Stranger Things 3 in the top TV shows. In the film category, Bird Box, Extraction, and The Irishman, Martin Scorsese's 4-hour gangster flick. You get more engagement when you're 4 hours long. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I don't know. I don't know what it means. I'll tell you what it means. It means streaming media is a thing. Oh, what a surprise. Yeah, especially thanks to COVID. Streaming media is all the rage. People are watching a lot of streaming TV. Who's that scary for? All of the mainstream, old school folks, the cable companies. If the film companies too, because these were all Netflix originals. These were all made by Netflix. Yeah, it's part of the reason they released this, to show. See? Steven Spielberg, don't you be dissing our streaming media. He said streaming movies should not be eligible for the Academy Awards. Yeah, don't you be dissing that. 100 million people. That's a lot of people. Lot of people. Scarlett Johansson has settled with Disney. That's all. That is all. I mentioned, I have to follow it up because I mentioned that she was suing Disney because she was mad that Disney streamed Black Widow on Disney Plus, which she says cost her money because Johansson, like many movie stars, had a percentage of the theatrical gross. And she said, because you cut into the theatrical gross by showing it on Disney Plus, and oh, by the way, that's very good for you because you get more subscribers on Disney Plus. I don't see dime one of that. Disney said, we'll share some of that with you. We'll share. Thursday, ScarJo released a statement saying, I am happy to have resolved our differences with Disney. Shouldn't it be we are happy to have resolved our differences? Or I am happy to resolve my differences, but not I am happy to resolve our differences. Just a little grammar, ScarJo, just saying. I'm incredibly proud of the work she seems to be confused between first person singular and first person plural. I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done together over the years and have greatly enjoyed my creative relationship with the team. I look forward, blah, blah, blah. How much money? That's all anybody wants to know. What'd you give her, Disney? Neither side, according to Deadline, said how much money was involved. Sources tell Deadline, Dominic Patton, that it will be more like 40 million schmackaroos. Ooh, that's a lot of. That's the kind of on the order of the money Scarlett Johansson might have gotten from box office. She got $20 million up front, which seems like a lot, right? But, she's a movie star. She deserves it. By August of this year, the picture had grossed $367 million in worldwide box office receipts, $125 million in streaming and download receipts. So Disney said, well, see, streaming didn't kill the box office. But then there's also the kind of the bad optics of underpaying a woman, right? Don't do that. So the sense is that Disney handed over some bucks, handed over a little bit of moolah, more than $40 million. Now, I don't know what Dominic means with this, but I'm going to read you the line. The Hollywood folks will apparently know what this means. Accordingly, says Dominic, the funds will not be paid by Disney in a single lump sum if you pick up the creative accounting I'm putting down. Okay. I don't know. I love how Deadline writes. Very variety. Worldwide, Black Widow's made a lot of money, $378.8 million. It was $30 to watch it on Disney Plus, right? So I don't, I mention this. It's not meaningful to you or me, is it? Unless you are Scarlett Johansson and we are me. Apple, according to rumors, has canceled its release of an iPad Air with an OLED display in 2022 because they can't make them. They're still going to do the mini LED 11-inch iPad Pro. This is not from Apple. This is rumor. Just thought I'd pass that along. I had hoped by now we would have heard something about an Apple event announcing new MacBook Pros. I've told a lot of you if they've called to wait and see. Still, I guess, wait and see. But here we are in October. So maybe, if you need it, maybe get it anyway. I don't know. Not wait and see. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. This is the meat of the matter. The show topics. We talk about tech in all its varied shapes and colors. It's our phone ranger, H-Bomb, back in the studio, taking over for Kim Schaffer's taking the weekend off. Hi, Heather.
Hey, she's going to a wedding.
Yeah.
I don't think it's hers, though.
No. I would have heard, I think. She might have mentioned that if it was.
You would have noticed the rock.
I would have noticed the rock.
So we could do over or under on whether she makes out with a groomsman or the band.
No, I would never go there.
Come on, weddings are fun.
In a million years. Weddings are fun.
No. Well, I would, so I guess
Heather
that's the issue.
is really too big time for us, but she's very generous and comes up here to fill in. For a long time, Dr. Dean Adele's partner on his show did our call screening early on in the show. Then, moved upstairs to the big station in San Francisco. And you appear every evening there, right?
Yeah, evening drive. I was trying to remember, and sometimes Facebook, sends you memories and whatnot. I started with you in 2013.
That's about right. Yeah.
Oh God.
So we moved into this studio 5 years ago, and we were in that studio for 5 years. And so you started, probably about right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was with you for shows 999 and 1,000.
Oh.
Right.
And we're now up to 1,833.
It's mind-boggling.
If you want, stick around. You can do 2,000. Woo, party. Hey, before we go too far, we should get a call because
I'm sorry.
Time is running out.
Well, you were talking about streaming, and so let's talk to Tom in Wilmington about some of the streamers and the relationship they're having. Line one.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what he's talking about. So nice to see you, Heather. I'll come back and say hi. Yeah. I think I can stand in the same space as you. I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll keep 6 feet away. Tom on the line. Good to see you, Tom, from Wilmington, North Carolina. Welcome.
Yeah, how you doing, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
I got a good question. Is Apple Plus having a hissy fit with Roku?
So everybody's having a hissy fit with everybody else. Because in order to be on Roku, you have to give them some revenue, that kind of thing. And I don't know of anything specific. Are you having trouble with your Apple TV Plus?
Well, yeah, my wife always likes to listen to Apple Plus. So, one day she goes, okay, computer guy, how come I got to sign in? Because she never had to sign in before.
Oh, that's normal. That's normal.
Yeah, well, but she never has had to do that. So here, what's the password? Okay, so I had to...
It's your Apple password because you have...
Yeah, right.
So you pay for Apple TV Plus through your Apple account. So it'd be your Apple password, whoever pays for it.
Okay, so I put that in there, and it comes back invalid. I go, wait a minute. I know that password. So I go and put it in. No, invalid. So I go to my iPad and put it in there, and it worked.
So make sure you make the distinction. It's possible to have multiple Apple IDs. So there's by the way, sometimes people confuse that with the password they use to log into their computer. Now, with an iPad, you use a numeric thing, so I'm sure you're not confusing those. But you have an iCloud password. So the best way to test this is to go to iCloud.com and use that login, which will be your email, usually at iCloud, but it could be mac.com or at me.com. Use that email, that password, see if it works there. Then make sure it's what you bought Apple TV Plus with. I have a different account from my iTunes, so you got to use the right account. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Is it the Apple TV that's asking you?
Well, this is the thing. I went to the iPad and I loaded up Roku, and I tried to log in there, and it said no, wrong password. So then I did it with the cell phone, and I used their QR code, and I logged in.
Yeah, the QR code's always going to work. So again, let me.
It didn't work.
Okay,
it come back with some goofy thing about an ID error or something.
Yeah. So here's the way to test this. First of all, you got to figure out, where did you buy it? Did you buy it on the Roku? Did you buy it on your iPhone, your iPad? Where did you buy the subscribe to Apple TV Plus?
Roku.
You did it in the Roku.
Yeah. But this is how I got around it. I went and did AirPlay.
Yeah, you can do that. So
that shows me that I'm...
No. All it is you're using the wrong password. It's really simple. Go to iCloud.com, try logging in there to see if that's your iCloud password and account. And then see are you using your iCloud email with the Roku?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you didn't pay for it though that way. So you got to this can get very confusing because you can have multiple accounts and multiple logins for the same thing. As I said, I have an iCloud login, but I don't use that, and I regret it now, but it's been going on for years. I don't use that for paying. I didn't use it initially for buying songs on iTunes, and then that extended to TV shows and movies and everything else. So I have 2 different Apple IDs, and every time I set up an Apple device, I have to remember that Apple gives you, in fine print at the bottom, you can use you can use 2 IDs. I have to remember, because I know this came up because when I set up a phone or a new iPad, I had forgot, and I had to go back and say, no, this is the ID for purchases, and this is the ID for login. So you just have to. The problem is you probably don't remember when you bought Apple TV Plus how you bought it. So you probably need to figure that out. If you have a different login and password for your iTunes account, you try that. It's not a battle between Roku and Apple TV Plus. It's just you got to choose the right password. It's such a pain in the butt. I agree. Oh, I want to talk about our sponsor. Thank you, Mike B. Thank you. Our show today brought to you. This is very appropriate. Very appropriate. A brand new sponsor. We want to welcome them to the Tech Guy Show. And I think some of this comes from the fact that we've talked about accessibility so much. I want to tell you about UserWay at userway.org. I'll actually give you a special address in just a second where you can get a special deal. UserWay is an amazing company. I talked to them just the other day that helps websites be accessible. Now, there was a very famous case. Domino's Pizza says, well, we got a phone number. We don't have to have an accessible website. You could just call us. Supreme Court said, no. A website is a public-facing entity. You must be accessible. It's the law. It's the ADA. It's the Supreme Court. And you're liable if your website is not accessible. I know Julian will agree with me. This is such a great solution. UserWay is an incredible AI-powered solution that enforces hundreds of WCAG guidelines, WCAG, with one line of JavaScript. You can put this in your site, one line of JavaScript. UserWay can achieve more than an entire team of developers. And what I love about it is you put this in, but you can also work with it as a human. It will generate, for instance, alt tags on images automatically. And then if you want to work with it, it will say, you need an alt tag here. This is what I suggest. You can modify. You can say, yeah, but say this. It's a little more detailed. Everybody uses UserWay. Coca-Cola, Disney, eBay, FedEx, over 1 million websites. And now their best-in-class, enterprise-level accessibility tools are available to everybody, even small and medium businesses. When you scale, you need UserWay because it can scale all the way. It's the right thing to do to make your website accessible and compliant. It also makes business sense. Wouldn't you want every possible customer to use your site? It automatically generates image alts. It remediates complex nav menus. This is a sore spot for a lot of people. All your pop-ups will be accessible. It fixes vague link violations. It fixes any broken links. Make sure your website uses accessible colors, still within your Pantone range, but more accessible. And if you use WordPress or Shopify or Wix, UserWay is a cost-effective, easy way to add it. AEM, Sitecore, SharePoint, it integrates seamlessly with everything. They've even got a free scanning tool on the website to see if your website's ADA compliant. The voice of Siri here saying she likes UserWay. Listen.
UserWay is trusted by more than 1 million websites and 60 million users with disabilities. Visit userway.org to learn how one line of code can make your website accessible.
UserWay can make any website fully accessible and ADA compliant. With UserWay, everyone who visits your site can browse seamlessly and customize it to fit their needs. It's also a perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. Please do this for me. Go to userway.org/twit. Get 30% off UserWay's AI-powered accessibility solution. 30% off. UserWay, making the internet accessible for everyone. Userway.org/twit. We want to welcome them. They're making a very big difference in this world. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, and he is here, our hipster home theater geek, Mr. Scott Wilkinson. He is the expert du jour on all things TV and audio. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Leo.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Your review of Foundation and the difficulty in hearing the audio was confirmed by our other co-host, Steve Gibson, who does security now. He says, I couldn't understand a thing. They're all mumbling.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad to hear it wasn't just me.
Yeah, I think it's that lately these 5.1 mixes, they really mix down the vocals, assuming I think that you have a center channel. And I found the best solution for us was just to boost the center channel a couple of dB.
Well, I did that. My center channel for Foundation is boosted 5 dB.
Wow.
And it's still hard to hear.
Yeah. I think, for all the, foo-rah going on around spatial music, all the attention Apple's paying to that, I honestly think that 5.1 mixing and spatial mixing is a challenge, and a lot of people don't do a very good job of it. Just as when
That's correct.
CDs came out for the first time and then later DVDs, the early attempts were just awful.
They were terrible. I remember going to a CES when 5.1 music was just coming out, and there was a remix of an Eagles album, I forget which one, and it had the cowbell clanking at me from one of the surround channels, and it was just terrible.
Yeah. Sometimes they just kind of they're trying to overdo it so that you go, oh, wow, that's quite spatial.
Wow. It's like 3D,
yeah,
right, where they stick
just like
something
3D.
out the screen at you, yeah.
And just as the jury is, I think I don't know if the jury's still out on 3D. I think 3D is pretty much accepted to be a failure.
Gone. Yeah.
I feel like spatial might be in that category. Look, there's a big difference between mono and stereo. I like stereo.
Yes.
There's there is a difference similar between stereo and spatial, but not quite as much.
Well,
in movies, it makes a difference for sure.
It makes a big difference because you're immersed in an environment that you're seeing as well as hearing.
So we have on our big projection, the 100-inch screen, we have a 5.1 surround. We don't have the Atmos, but we have the 5.1 surround. And then on the OLED, in a more intimate setting, we just have stereo. And honestly, I think they both sound fine. I've never felt like I need to have the surround sound. It still feels a little gimmicky to me. Stereo's fine.
Stereo's fine in most cases. That's true.
Yeah, I guess go to movie theater. That's different. Anyway, I didn't mean to hijack your segment. What do you want to talk about?
That's fine. I wanted to talk about a couple of announcements that Amazon made this week. Or not this week, actually it was earlier in September, but they're coming to fruition this week or next week. They've announced, I don't know if we talked about this before, they announced that they are going to have some Amazon-branded televisions.
Yes, yeah. And who's making those for Amazon? That's the question.
We don't know for sure. We're pretty sure that it's TCL.
Yeah. And we should mention the prices are very aggressive because they're kind of low end. They're not falled. No?
Well, we don't know if they're falled or not. They come in. There are two series. There's the low end, what's called 4 series, which is very aggressively priced. It comes in 43, 50, and 55 inches. The 55 inch is $520. That is undoubtedly edge lit. It'll do HDR10. It'll do high dynamic range, basic high dynamic range. But what's more interesting to me is the higher end, what they call the Omni series, which will come in.
That's the one that might have better quality, you say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It comes in sizes all the way up to 75 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And the 65 and 75 will have the ability to receive and understand and deal with Dolby Vision high dynamic range. And while I haven't been able to confirm it yet, I wouldn't be surprised if those were FALD, F-A-L-D, for full array local dimming.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know for sure. But, I mean, the prices are amazing. The 65-inch is $830. The 75-inch is $1,100. So that's pretty amazing.
And, of course, they have Alexa, Amazon's Echo, built in because that's a big part of this, right?
Correct. And they're based on Fire TV, of course, which is Amazon's smart TV platform.
I'm not a fan of Fire TV, mostly because it just seems to advertise Amazon Prime stuff kind of overwhelmingly. It's all you see. Yeah.
I don't really use it, so I don't have that experience.
Yeah.
I should probably get one, a Fire TV stick.
Yeah, they're inexpensive. A lot of people use them because they're so inexpensive.
Exactly.
And the reason is Amazon's subsidizing basically these because they hope that
you'll... It's an advertising platform.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, but speaking of Fire Stick, they do have a new one of those coming out as well, a 4K. They call it the Fire TV Stick 4K Max.
Yeah.
Which, it will do Wi-Fi 6, which is the latest version of Wi-Fi, which is faster and better. Of course, it has Alexa and all that stuff as well. And it'll do Dolby Vision and HDR10 and HDR10 Plus, for that matter. So, they've got a bunch of new stuff. The thing that was most interesting to me was the Amazon branded TVs, and inexpensive at that. So they're getting into the TV game. Admittedly, as an OEM, well, they're sourcing them from someplace else. We think it's TCL. Although the press release
and TCL's very affordable too. So $1,100 for a 75-inch though. That's a price leader. And you think it's going to be? Since it does Dolby Vision, it probably does have some pretty good technology.
The specs do say direct LED. It doesn't say local dimming. So I don't know. I've been trying to confirm that. I actually contacted Amazon. Haven't heard back yet.
Well, we'll know soon because they come out soon, right?
Yeah, end of October.
So we'll get to see
October 27th.
And the other play, of course, Amazon has cameras and the Ring doorbell and so forth. And so they'll work with those particularly well as well. You'll be able to see who's at the front door while you're watching TV with little picture-in-picture things like that.
And you'll be able to do Zoom calls on your TV. Yet another announcement they made that I thought was kind of interesting. They have this thing called the Echo Show.
Love the Echo Show. Yeah,
they've got them up to 10 inches now, and soon they'll have a 15-incher.
That's a really interesting one to me.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And they're going to integrate Sling into it.
Yeah, wow.
Sling TV.
That's the over-the-top live TV. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you won't need an antenna. That's really interesting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you add that to the Air TV, and you get over-the-air DVR. So
that's really cool.
A lot of interesting things coming up. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I am excited. I have to say, I don't think I'll be running out to buy one, but I think that this might end up, we'll just review them when they come out. This might end up being a recommendation for people who are looking for a way to get into high-end TV at a low cost. But the reason the cost is low is because Amazon's
they're going to
selling
push.
stuff.
They're going to push, and in particular, they're going to push Amazon Prime.
And I honestly think one of the reasons we see all the TVs now with smart TV functionality is because they're also selling marketing information about how you watch TV.
Absolutely.
And you could bet Amazon isn't selling that information, but keeping it.
But keeping it and using it.
And using it, yeah.
To their best advantage.
Not necessarily a problem in my mind, but something to be aware of. That's all.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right.
Scott Wilkinson, he writes about all of these matters at techhive.com. He's a contributor there and, of course, joins us every week to talk about home theater, answer your questions, too. If you've got questions, just come on by and ask them. In fact, Scott, you're going to stick around to the top of the hour. So if we have any TV or audio questions, I'll get them in the next 15 minutes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks, Scott. Hey, Kay, it's Scott Wilkinson time on the television set.
Dr. Mom Grandma says that personally I think 15 inches is too big unless you can get it built into something like a refrigerator.
Well, the idea is you hang it on the wall. There is an easel, but that's kind of kooky. But you can hang it on the wall.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, Mike Heiss, our friend Mike Heiss, I learned from him that he's looking forward to getting one of those. He has a small TV mounted behind the mirror in his master bedroom.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah.
And you can't get a TV that small anymore.
I've seen it in hotels. It's so strange.
Yeah, it's very strange, but he likes it. That's what he has. So he's going to put one of these Echo Shows back there, and I think that's kind of a cool idea. But it's kind of like what Dr. Mom Grandma is saying here, like built into something like a refrigerator or your bathroom mirror. So you can be watching TV while you're shaving. I wouldn't do that, but many people would, I suppose. So, hello, everybody. So nice to see you all. Let's see. Scooter X says, Hisense 55-inch U6G QLED TV, currently down to its cheapest price on Amazon today, usually $650, now $520. That's kind of interesting. Hisense 55-inch for $520. That's the same as the 55-inch 4 Series Amazon TV. And let me just go look that up. That's the U6G. If that's the case, that's probably a better deal than the Amazon 4 Series. That's another reason we think I think it's TCL, by the way, is TCL names its TVs 4 Series, 5 Series, 6 Series, and Amazon is calling this the 4 Series. So Hisense, Amazon, let me just see if I can, Amazon, Hisense televisions. And we're looking for the, what is it again? The U6G. Let me look back at the chat room here. Yeah, U6G. Okay, so I'm going to look now for U6G. And 55 U6G, $520. Look at that. Now, that's an Android smart TV, not a Fire TV, but with Alexa compatibility. Okay. So that goes up to 75-inch, and the 75-inch there is less than the Amazon Omni. The Hisense is $994.99, $995 as opposed to $1,100. So that's pretty darn good. And it uses their ULED technology, which has quantum dots, so it's a wide color gamut. Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, full array local dimming. We know this for sure. That might actually be a better deal than the Amazon. How interesting. That's the U6G. The U8G is $1,100. That's kind of interesting.
Stick around for the top.
I would be happy to.
All right. Thank you, sir. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Want to say hi to Nick and his dad Tom driving around today. Listen to the show. Hey, Nick. How you doing? Apparently, Nick's a big fan. He's even got the patter down. The whole thing. I think Nick's going to be doing the show in a couple of weeks. Paula's on the line from Temecula, California. Hey, Paula, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, thanks so much for taking my call.
Thanks for calling, Paula. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm an English teacher, and I teach middle school homeschoolers. So they're learning from home, and we offer them enrichment workshops where they come to campus once or twice a week, and they're 6 weeks long. But I would like to teach them how to write video games and code.
How fun, huh? How old are they?
Yeah.
You said sixth graders?
They're 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Middle schoolers. Okay.
Yes, but I'm an English teacher, and so I have always wanted to learn to code. But I don't know how yet, and so I
do they? What kind of computers do they have? Do they bring their own?
Well, they're mostly on school devices,
like Chromebooks or iPads. Which is it?
Right, and they're Apple devices.
Oh, they're all iPads. Okay, good. So there's a really great Apple program that's free that they can download and put on their iPads if they're all iPads. In fact, I think it's also on the Mac now too, called the Swift Playgrounds. Oh. And it's designed specifically for new people, new to code. It's an educational tool. It's very simple to use. It's kind of fun. It's like a video game. So it's available for iPad and Mac for free, Swift Playgrounds. Okay. What's interesting is, you'll have, I'm sure some kids will go, and just play with it. And some kids it'll kind of resonate with them. And for those kids, there are lesson plans you can download, some free, some paid, that make it actually much more advanced. And one of the things Apple announced just this year is that you can actually write and publish your own apps on iOS using Swift Playgrounds and nothing else. Oh. So it's a great way to get started in coding. And if the kid is motivated, there really is, they can actually write an app for the App Store.
Oh, wonderful.
So they can go all the way. It also will integrate with Lego Mindstorms, Sphero. It integrates with the real world. So it's one of those things you will feel as somebody who's non-technical, very comfortable with out of the box. It's very simple, and it's graphical. You got this little character, and you're moving them around and telling them to do stuff. I don't know if you're probably not old enough to remember, but for a while we started teaching coding in school using something called Turtle Graphics and Logo. I don't know if that rings a bell for you. This was probably 40 years ago now, and it's too bad we abandoned it. But the idea was kids that age could you'd have a little plastic turtle robot, and you could steer it and get it to draw things. So using real code, a language designed for this called Logo. There are the reason I asked what platform, there are other, lots of ways to do this. MIT has something called Scratch. There is, Carnegie Mellon came up with a really interesting, again, these are graphical programming languages designed for roughly middle school to high school. Carnegie Mellon came up with something called Alice. But those are both done in a browser. I mean, you could do them on the iPad, but they're done in the browser, and they're a little more, I would say, a little more advanced as there's a little more tricky. But you could take a look at alice.org if you're interested in that Carnegie Mellon thing. It's designed. You'll see. You have no coding experience?
That is correct.
Good. Good. So you're at par with them. Scratch is at scratch.mit.edu.
I actually bought a few Scratch books.
Yeah, so Scratch is great. I'm a fan of Scratch. In fact, it's kind of interesting. For freshmen at Harvard, one of the most popular courses at Harvard is CS50. It's the Introduction to Computer Science. As your kids get more advanced, this would be a good thing to keep in the back pocket because they can take that course online, and the videos are very fun and well done. And he actually, in the very beginning, the first video, teaches some programming in Scratch. So, I mean, they move on quickly. It's Harvard, after all. But okay, nice. Yeah. So all of this, is out there because there's I think, a very big movement to get kids to code. I don't think all kids are going to take to coding. There is an interesting movement to using coding in a math curriculum, which I think is quite interesting and smart. Okay. So, I can actually point you. Right. Yeah, I'm overwhelming you, aren't I?
Well, no, this is all great, but I'm hoping to ask you another question.
Sure. Yeah.
Is there any way that you can help me connect with some grad students or some other young people who might want to zoom in and help guide them and give them some inspiration so they can see other young people who are more advanced than them and maybe what those people are doing with their knowledge of these things?
Sure. I'm sure there are. The biggest educational community right now around programming is with something called Racket, which is a programming language. And there is, in fact, these Racket folks, I've interviewed them, are using programming to teach math, as I said, for middle schoolers. And I'm trying to look up the website for it because the name has escaped me. But if you connected with them, they have for teachers a whole learning module so that you can prepare to teach this stuff, and then how to integrate this into your math curriculum. Do you do math with the kids?
No, I do English.
Just English. Well, it applies to both. It's one of these cross-disciplinary things.
Right.
It's a little more like math, but it is also expressive. It's like writing. So I think it's not inappropriate to have it in the English curriculum as well. Boy, I wish I can remember the name of this curriculum. I'll find it for you, and I'll put it in the show notes. But to get in touch with graduate students, I think I would start with Racket is designed to teach middle school kids math and programming ultimately.
Okay.
So I think this is going to be the right direction to go in. Let me just see if I can find Bootstrap. That's it. Bootstrapworld.org. Integrated computing for algebra, physics, and data science for all students, grades 4 through 12. It comes out of Brown University. You will be able to connect with the Bootstrap folks, and I'm sure there are graduate students. I know what you're looking for. You're looking for support as a non-programmer, right?
Yes, exactly.
Do you have any interest in kind of learning programming? Because I think this would be a great journey to take with your kids.
Yes, I do. I actually, you mentioned how old I was. Well, I remember in 1982 playing on my dad's Texas Instrument and my hours and hours adventure.
Oh,
so
wait,
yeah,
we're gonna lose you to this.
I'm taking you back.
Yeah, no, we're gonna lose you to this. If you like that, then you will love this. So
that's what I'm looking for.
Check out bootstrapworld.org. Because that is really aimed at middle school curricula. They have workshops for teachers, etc. You can also get in touch with people there. I think it's a really good starting point. But also, if you just want to give the kids something they can do, it looks like a game, but it's teaching them coding. Swift Playgrounds is kind of amazing.
Okay, wonderful. I will look into it.
I am so glad you want to do this. Please let me anytime be your resource if you have any questions. Just call in, because I want to strongly encourage this. I think it's great. And you will find maybe one in 10 kids will go, oh, and you'll lose, and they're off and running. The rest of them are going, Nice to talk to you. Thank you for being a teacher, Paula. The most important job in the world. Poor woman, I completely overwhelmed her. It's like, don't ask me about programming. I'll tell you. Beware. Okay, Scott, yours.
Thank you very much. I don't think you overwhelmed her. I think she was thirsty for that knowledge, actually.
Bootstrap World, I'm glad I remembered it because it is amazing. If she goes there, yeah, I wish more people had. I really kind of proselytize for them because nowadays kid learns math. It's abstract, right? And that's the number one question kids ask. Why am I learning this? I'm never going to use algebra. What good is it? What good is it? But if you learn it in the context of coding, first of all, it's more practical. It's actually easy to learn math, and you need math to do programming, but it's also a great way to teach math or physics. So they have a whole bunch of materials all around it. It's really good.
Wow, bootstrapworld.org.
Yeah, well worth looking at.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Anybody who's a teacher should absolutely consider this as a adjunct to your math or physics curriculum.
By the way, I do remember Turtle Graphics and
yeah, remember that logo? Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah,
I think I did it on a Radio Shack Trash 80.
Yeah. Oh, it worked on anything. It was very simple. Yeah.
That was my very first computer, a TRS-80. Anyway, fun times. Hey, everybody. Mostly I used it as a what do you call it? A monitor for Unix mainframe at UC Berkeley. Not a monitor. What did you call the station, the remote station that was just an interface to the mainframe?
Terminal.
Terminal. That's it. Yep. Exactly right. So anyway, Endless Music says he has an LG OLED 65C6, which is several years old. 3D TV still going strong. Best 3D TV ever. If you like 3D, you're right. That's probably a great one. And somebody else mentioned that the C1, the 65C1, which is the current iteration, is down to $1,800, which, man, that's pretty darn good. It's not $1,100 for a 75-inch, but it's a lot better TV, I'm sure. I am absolutely sure of that. I wish I had some information for Lumpy. He says, are there any TVs that take vibrations better than others? The TV in my RV trailer already has vertical line in the screen after a year. And I've never even thought of this. It's a great thing. I'll have to do some research on this, Lumpy, because you're right. I mean, if you have a TV in an RV and it's bouncing around all the time, then yeah, you could get some things dislodged in some way or another. So are there any that are specifically designed for that, for example? Like there are TVs specifically designed for being outside, which really means hardened from moisture and from super bright sunlight. And not to mention being super bright themselves, putting out a lot more light than usual because they're outside. But are there any that are hardened against vibration specifically? That's a really good question. Let's see here. Mike B says, put an iPad in a magnetic case and stick it to the fridge. Problem solved. Well, yeah, that's one way to do it. No doubt about that. So, anybody else got any questions? Let's see. Phoenix Warp 1, my first computer, Apple Performa 475. I don't remember that one. I sort of vaguely remember that one. Alan Gabriel says, the only OLED device I'm getting is the Switch next week. Good. I didn't know that was OLED, but good.
The new one just came out. I don't know how he's getting it so quick, though.
I don't know either.
Very nice. You got to give us a review.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't know it was OLED.
They just released an OLED update. I mean, it literally just came out.
Oh, wow.
Alan Gabriel must have
were you saying there was another one? Oh, the iPad Mini?
Is not going to be OLED. The iPad Air.
I thought it might be.
But there was a rumor there was going to be they can't get the screens, I think.
Man, the distribution channel delays are really something.
Yeah. Lisa's car we were supposed to get next week is going to be delayed another month or two.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
I mean, outside the port of Los Angeles, there are hundreds of container ships.
Yeah, that's a real
problem. That are just waiting to get in. I mean, it's on the news every night.
Yeah.
And I look at those container ships, and each of those containers is huge.
Oh, yeah.
And
there's a ton of stuff.
Hundreds of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Thousands of them on each ship, and there are hundreds of ships out there. It's like, man, what is in all those containers? All the stuff we want to buy. Quite remarkable. The world is quite a remarkable place, don't you think? So I want to say hi to Heather. I haven't seen her in such a long time. Hi, Heather.
Hi.
So nice to see you here. You doing well?
Yeah. Oh, am I mic'd?
Yeah.
You're mic'd.
She can hear you.
Look all creepy.
He can hear you. You're in the Halloween room.
Yeah.
Oh, the Halloween room.
Good to see you. You'd be horrified to see my home theater setup.
Oh no! Really?
Is it on a bunch of books toppling over and?
Well, it's not that bad.
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you what kind of TV I have, and I can't even tell you if I got it in a divorce or from my parents. But it works. I'm happy. I got a Fire Stick. Everything works. I love it.
Then you're fine.
Yeah. What do I need?
Fine.
Whatever.
What do you need? Yeah.
I mean, I'm a single woman. I usually sit with a laptop on my chest in bed and watch my movies.
Yeah, that's what most people do. Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
Let's be real here, right?
Yeah. Okay. I can't say I do that, but yeah, as long as you're happy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to berate anybody for, having a home theater that isn't up to my standards.
But one of these days.
I
will get something better. And I do have a little bit of a rumble sometimes with the audio, but if I play with things, I can usually adjust it, whatever.
Well, if you ever need any help, please contact me. I'd be very happy to help you.
I know where to find you.
You do know where to find me. That's right. So
the important thing is that my Sonos speakers are the bomb.
Yes. And you can get music all over the house.
Yeah, what a great thing that is. And I mean, I learned about it, here on the show from you and Leo, I'm sure of it. And I mean, cost per setup, per quality, no question. I would spend more on them.
All right, you two, break it up. I got to go to work. Thanks, Scott. Thanks,
sure,
Heather. Have a good one.
Thanks, Heather. Good to see you.
Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all those doodads and gimmicks that are changing our lives. They actually turn out to be pretty important. If you want to talk high tech with me, I'd love to talk to you. Teachers, love to hear from you too. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from the U.S. or Canada. Website, techguylabs.com. I'll put some links up there for teachers, including our caller, who want to teach computer science, maybe who don't have the expertise to do it. I mentioned Scratch, Alice, a couple of languages designed for teaching programming. They're great. They're fun to play with. I play with them. They're fun for anybody. Swift Playground's also amazing on the iPad and Mac. And then we have a computer science teacher in the chat room who's also posted a link to information for computer science teachers. There's actually an organization, CSTA, the Computer Science Teachers of America, csteachers.org. There are free resources there. So thank you. As usual, our audience is great, chipping in with some useful information. So all of that is at techguylabs.com. We take the notes for you so you don't have to. This is something I've not done or had to do much of, but given our modern day and age, I suppose I'll be doing more of it, which is fact-checking. In technology, I think it's a little bit less likely to have, kind of weird social media posts suggesting things that aren't true. But it happens. And there is a big issue going on right now. We've talked about it on the show in the last couple of weeks. Scott just mentioned it again. I was talking to him off the air. I probably should debunk some social media posts you may have seen about those cargo ships that are backed up off Long Beach and LA Harbor. This comes from the Poynter Institute, very good organization. They have a PolitiFact page, politifact.com. In the worst case, people are saying there's thousands of ships off the coast. They're not being offloaded on purpose to create a supply chain shortage, things like that. Not true. Not true. I just want to make that very, very clear. There are a larger number of ships than usual. They're there because for a couple of reasons. A couple of reasons. There's an abnormally high, I'm going to read from PolitiFact. There's an abnormally high number of ships waiting to unload their cargo in Southern California. There are 140 total ships in port at LA and Long Beach, according to the Marine Exchange's most recent figures. Most of these vessels are container ships waiting to open up in the dock so they can unload. So that's the number. You can verify it yourself on the Marine Exchange, 140 ships. It's not a manufactured supply chain halt or a deliberate attempt to shop shipments. According to experts, a lot of this is because of us. Our consumer spending habits have shifted as we spend more time at home. We're shifting our spending from services to goods during the pandemic. This is from Jeffrey Michael, Executive Director of the Center for Business and Policy Research at the University of the Pacific. An expert, not somebody you just saw on Facebook, an expert. Supply chains are struggling to keep pace with this shift in consumer demand. Now, this is an important quote. And you're not going to see this on your Facebook page, unfortunately. The ports in Southern California are actually moving record levels of containers. They are moving faster than normal. They just can't keep up with the increased demand. Shipping experts say there's a peak customer order season that starts with back-to-school shopping in September and lasts through the holidays in December. The ports can generally handle that surge, but last year things were different due to COVID-related disruptions and labor shortages. We had a peak season that was greater than normal a year ago, according to the executive director of the Marine Exchange, and they haven't been able to clear it ever since. They've been backed up for more than a year. Plus, these ships are huge. They're bigger than they were 10 or 15 years ago. There's a lot more cargo per ship, so they just haven't been able to catch up. When you have more containers, more ships, you have less capacity in the goods movement system. So in other words, the bottleneck isn't unloading the ships, it's getting the stuff that they've unloaded into the supply chain. But that's a slowdown because there's a ton of stuff coming in. The port's jammed. All the docks, all the cranes are full. Everybody's working at port capacity. And the only slowdown is due to COVID safety protocols. This is again from the director of the Marine Exchange of Southern California, Kip Lutit. Kip said, if a captain says, somebody on the crew has COVID, the ship is not allowed to enter port. You can either go drift, go to anchor, but you have to do your quarantine. So some of these boats are actually quarantined during COVID. But that's a minority, not responsible for the larger backup. So I wanted to debunk what people are seeing. Scott, said, there's thousands of ships out there, and if you read the Facebook, it's very easy to read a headline and kind of absorb it and move on without giving it a second thought. I just wanted to say very clearly, yes, there may be shortages of goods because of unprecedented demand and a supply and distribution system that can't expand fast enough to meet it as COVID recovers. Don't stock up. It's not necessary. Ships are being allowed to dock and unload. There is no manufactured shortage. So PolitiFact rates it as mostly false. So if you see that, mostly false. So that's good to know. There is a chip shortage. There's no doubt about that, and there are slowdowns there. But that probably is only a small part of the overall slowdown. And it's just consumer demand. We're buying a lot of stuff. We're not traveling. We're not going out to eat. We're buying a lot of stuff. 8888, ask Leo. It kind of makes sense if you think about it. Charles is on the line from Raleigh, North Carolina. Hello, Charles. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, Club TWiT member and longtime fan. So
welcome. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I basically want to ask today about Wi-Fi 6 and possible routers. I currently have an Eero Pro set up with 2 beacons in this gateway and about 22 devices.
Wow.
And now that I have more more devices thanks to the Apple, largely. I just was wondering if Wi-Fi 6 is worthwhile. And
so right now you don't have a lot of Wi-Fi 6 devices. All the new Apple gear is. And by the way, just as Wi-Fi 6 comes along, Wi-Fi 6E is a thing. So, yeah, right. Figures, doesn't it? So that's what's on those containers, all those Wi-Fi 6E routers. So what's happening is in some cases the 6 routers will be upgradable. At this point, because you probably don't, first of all, I have some Wi-Fi 6 devices and I have a Wi-Fi 6 setup. I haven't noticed much difference. There's maybe a 10% improvement, maybe. Those Eros are very good. A lot of what makes those Eros fast is happening not because of more bandwidth, but because of smarter use of the bandwidth. That's why you get a mesh system with some smarts, because it can actually manage the network better, and that's going to give you better results. And I know this because you said you have 22 devices on there. Meet Mr. 73 devices on his home network. 22 sounds like a lot. It is a lot. But as we get more and more IoT devices, and I'm the guy who buys the toaster oven that's internet connected, and I have all that crazy stuff. So I actually had to sit down and really kind of look at what was going on. If you have a lot of Wi-Fi 6 devices, maybe, but most of the stuff you're using isn't in those 22. Most of it, things like Amazon Echoes don't even need 5G. They're on 2.4G. They're not taking advantage of any additional bandwidth. So unless you feel like your iPhones and your Macs are slow, I wouldn't worry about it yet. Now, once 6E becomes established, and gosh, probably the minute it does, there'll be a Wi-Fi 7. I don't know. I haven't heard about that, but I wouldn't be surprised. But once 6E becomes established, then you might want to look at a 6E router. But I think you'd want to have a preponderance of your devices, capable of taking advantage of it before you spend a lot of money. I mean, you've put a lot of money into that beacon, right? The Euro.
Yeah. Yeah, a few $100. And so you would say that even with the gigabit internet connection?
Yeah, because the gigabit's shared among devices. So one of the things the Eero does that's really smart is it says, oh, somebody's watching Netflix. I'm going to make sure they get the most bandwidth, and then the person who's checking email gets less. Management of the network turns out to be much more significant, I think, than whether you have Wi-Fi 6E or not. Now, you have an Eero Pro. That is 6, right? Did you get? Oh, you didn't get the latest Eero Pro.
No, it's not the latest.
Yeah.
AC.
Yeah, I would wait. Wait till 6E comes out. And, I mean, when I bought the Eero, it was, I think, 5. So, it's just, and I think it's fine. I'm actually, we ended up upgrading the entire network from Eero to Ubiquity, which is kind of prosumer stuff, partly because I have so many ridiculous number of devices on this network. People were complaining. We have a kid taking classes via Zoom. My wife's working at home. I'm working at home. We're watching TV. We're doing all this stuff. You got to it's good to look at your usage and see. I don't think you'll benefit yet. I think I would wait. This is like a year later, right? You just bought this stuff.
This is maybe 2 years or so.
Right. Wait another year.
Yeah. I think when I had less devices, I was starting to see network issues with the amount of...
Are you? Okay. Well, but don't buy... Let's put it this way. Don't buy another beacon. But remember, you're going to have to buy all new beacons, all new base station.
Yeah.
It's kind of expensive. It adds up. Beacons are $100 each. The Eero Pro 6 is $600 with two beacons. So we're talking a lot of money. I would say if you are noticing some congestion, try repositioning stuff. But if you think it's because of the number of devices, 6 could help. 6 does beamforming, which helps a little bit. I think 6E is what you're going to want.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. My most important devices seem to be fine. So
yeah, 6E adds a new band, more channels. That helps more with congestion than anything else.
Great. Well, thank you.
Hey, it's good to talk to you. Thank you so much for supporting Club TWiT. I really appreciate it. That's our podcast network. Yeah. I'll see you in the Discord.
For sure.
Thanks, Charles. Our show today brought to you. I should explain what Club Twit is, shouldn't I? If you listen to our podcasts, like most podcasts now, we offer a paid tier that gives you ad-free versions of the shows. That's all. TWiT.tv. If you want to know more about it, TWiT.tv/ClubTwit. Okay, see, I did my plug. My wife says, you got to plug it. You got to mention it. I do not have an internet-connected coffee pot. Whoops. I do have an internet-connected risotto cooker. I made risotto last night from an internet recipe in my Thermomix. I have an internet-connected toaster oven, the June. I have an internet-connected meat thermometer. I have an internet-connected barbecue. So, yeah, I have way too many devices. You have an internet-connected coffee maker? Oh, yeah, the coffee Breville makes it. Yeah, my Breville is not internet-connected. The only reason that would be good is if you wanted to make coffee before you get up, right? I have 83 total clients, of which 68 are currently active. But the Ubiquity has seen 83 different devices. Actually, it's kind of amazing. 68 of them are active now. So, my Apple Watch and my iPhone and my, I'm not there using my computers or anything, but there are 68 other devices that are active. 45 is pretty good. That's pretty good, Mike. My, let's see, let me think. Got Echoes in almost every room. Google's almost in every room. Got a doorbell, got cameras. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It adds up. I know. I have not watched it yet, Roberto. I only watched the first episode. I need to watch more. Oh, my electric bill is terrible. Fortunately, we have something like 75 solar panels on the house. We generate a huge amount of electricity from the sun. But before we got that, Oh, yes, this was from last week. Apple now says Siri did stop reading email. Yeah. Oh, it was you, Kovar. I didn't know. Actually, I have to thank Clayton. Oh, he's on the, Clayton's on the forums. I have to thank Clayton. Huh? Clayton sent me a handwriting book by John Le F. Dumpleton. And he has very nice handwriting. The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you this week and really pretty much every week by our good friends at IT Pro TV. I love IT Pro TV because it's the best place to get an education in IT. Now, I know you listen to our podcast. You're probably a little bit of an IT buff. You at least love technology, right? Maybe you've thought about, getting a job in technology. And as an IT professional, there's so many great areas, security and networking and just desktop support. But one of the problems getting that first job is if you don't have experience. Oh, I know all this stuff, you could say. That's why there's a certification system. You go out, you take the tests, you prove you have the skills, you've got the certificate, and your future employer can say, oh, yeah, well, I know he can do that. He's got the cert. That's how IT Pro started, is teaching to the certs so that you could get a job in IT. But it turns out it's so fun, it's so great. A lot of IT professionals stay members and keep their skills up. It's great for recertification. And I love IT because it's never boring. There's always a new area to learn about, right? So maybe you're a desktop support person, but you'd like to learn more about networking, or you're doing networking and you want to learn about cybersecurity. I tell you right now, cybersecurity, you couldn't find a better area of expertise. It's one of the most, if not the most vital areas of IT. And the tech world has millions, literally millions of job openings right now for cybersecurity experts. They need qualified people. Best way to get qualified, IT Pro TV. You can learn IT. You can get certified for many different IT jobs. And boy, do they have the content. We went out to visit them in Gainesville. They just built this brand new facility. They now have 7 studios running all day, Monday through Friday. Why? Because the content's always changing. The tests are changing. There's new versions of software. There's new software. There's new certs. Microsoft, for instance, just said no more MCSE. We got all new certs. Oy. So the good news is IT Pro TV is always up to date, always producing new content. They have a library of 5,800 hours of on-demand IT training. Nobody does it better than IT Pro TV. Their edutainers are fun, engaging, but they're also experts. You'll enjoy watching wherever you are. You can watch on the web, on your phone. They have iOS and Android apps. You can Chromecast it to your TV. If you've got a Roku, there's a Roku app, Apple TV, there's an Apple TV app. It's just the best way to go. It's spooky month this month. They've been doing these monthly things I love. October at IT Pro TV is jam-packed with events focused on perfect timing, cybersecurity. So check out, there'll be a webinar this week, October 7th, protecting against mobile security threats in a BYOD environment. See, that's a big one. That's really changed IT. This bring your own device. It's a whole new ball game, right? End of the month, October 28th, there's a Halloween themed, which means I guess they'll be in costume, CyberSec Incident Response for Small Businesses. Subtitle, these guys have a great sense of humor, Avoiding the Nightmare on Main Street. If you want to know more, itpro.tv/webinars. There'll be a panel discussion. They're really doing it up this month on 10/14, 5 p.m. Eastern. But they record these, so it's good to be there live if you can, but you can also watch them later. Dirty Little Secrets of a Cybersecurity Career. Don Pizzetto hosts that, one of the founders. I love Don. It's going to feature 3 IT security experts, people working in the field. There's more info on the IT Pro TV YouTube channel. Yeah, they have a YouTube channel. And then, if that weren't enough, they're going to do a free weekend, October 23rd and 24th. Free weekend means you can take classes all weekend long for free. And especially for this month's theme, part of the free courses will be CompTIA Security Plus. That's the really great fundamental security cert. There's the CEH cert, Certified Ethical Hacker cert. That's awesome. CompTIA is CISA. How do you pronounce that? CYSA. CISA Plus Cybersecurity Administration, I think that is. Plus, and then CISP, CISSP. Those will all be free October 23rd, 24th. But don't wait. Sign up today. It's a good time to get to know IT Pro TV. All the courses are 20 to 30 minutes long. They're very easy. You can do one on your lunch break. You can do them whenever it's convenient. You can learn anywhere, anytime. These are the certs everybody starts with, the A+ cert and the Security Plus and Network Plus. There's nowhere better to go than their official video training partner for CompTIA. The world needs IT-trained security experts more than ever. Get your cybersecurity certs with IT Pro TV. Visit itpro.tv/twit for an additional 30% off all consumer subscriptions for the lifetime of your active subscription when you use the code TWIT30, TWIT30. That's itpro.tv/twit, code TWIT30, 30% off as long as you stay active, forever. That's great. IT Pro TV, build or expand your IT career and enjoy the journey. itpro.tv/twit. Thank you for the support, IT Pro TV. Now back to the tech guy, Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Anthony's on the line from Ventura, California, our next caller. Hi, Anthony.
Well, zippity-doo-dah to Leo Laporte.
Hello, Anthony. How are you today?
I know, you're probably getting tired of my zippity-doo-dahs. Right?
Never getting tired of zippity-doo-dah. Never.
Well, then I'm going to have to put you on a bed of nails because, well, no, actually, I won't do that. But remember, I was the guy who had the Windows Phone forever and ever by Nokia.
I know. Oh, so sad.
Yeah, I buried them all in the backyard with a shovel.
Those are great phones. Somewhere I still have one lying around somewhere.
Yeah, they've all got tombstones. But you talked me into the OnePlus 7 Pro.
Yes.
And then your guys went online and said they're out of stock because the 8 Pro was coming out. And then I bought the 8 Pro with all the bells and whistles and doodles and daddles.
Good.
But I'm having a couple issues.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the matter? How old is it?
Yeah, I bought it last time we talked, which was about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Here's the issue that maybe you could help me, is that we thought, well, first of all, like the Windows Phone, it has the SD card that you could, the mini SD card that you could plop in and plop out.
Yeah, you remember with the Windows Phone, Microsoft at first said, don't use it. Because it's problematic with all phones. The idea, Android does not, and Windows Phone did not assume that a drive would disappear. Computers do, but phones assume the storage, if it's there, it's there. Where would it go? And so removable storage is always a little troubling on a smartphone. So what's going on?
Luckily, with the Windows Phone, if you pulled out the SD card and put it in the little adapter and stuck it in the slit in my Dell computer, it works just fine.
Yeah.
I was able to pull over all.
Oh, you can't read the SD card from your OnePlus?
Well, the OnePlus never had an SD card. Has 128 gigabytes worth of memory, but it doesn't have an SD card. So you have to plug it in and then wait for your computer to assume it as a drive. That is the problem. I can't get it to see it as a drive. And then I try to download drivers for it, figuring that's the missing link. And then the drivers I download, and then they say not supported. So what do I do now?
So you're saying that it doesn't have an SD card, so you're just connecting the phone to the computer?
Yes.
I see.
OnePlus does not offer the SD card.
Yes. Okay, you confused me with this mention of the SD card. Okay, good. I got it. So, I'm not sure how OnePlus does this. Windows may not. Well, what should happen is OnePlus should pop up, the phone should pop up a thing saying, do you want to see me as a camera or as mass storage? And you should choose mass storage. Unfortunately, I just ran out of time. Hold on a sec. If you don't see that pop up on the phone when you first plug it in, then you may have to go into the settings of the phone under USB, it's somewhere in the settings, and tell it, when I plug you in, I want you to behave like a hard drive. The reason you have seen this?
No, I think you're onto something. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because then it will mount just like it's a USB drive plugged into your computer. It needs to be in mass storage mode. That's the technical mode. There's either a camera mode or a mass storage mode. And to be honest, I don't have a OnePlus 8, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that can do that. The reason I'm a little hesitant is Samsung actually requires you to use some software with that. But most Android phones, you choose mass storage mode. It should pop it up. It's not. That's a little concerning. Go into the settings. Choose mass storage mode. It should show up as a drive. And you should be able to browse it and everything.
Yeah. And I guess I was spoiled for all these years using the Windows Phone because I got to pop out the little card.
Yeah. You could use a card reader. Yeah.
But
in effect, you could think of your phone as a card reader. It's the same thing. In fact, you could have done that with a Windows Phone. So in this case, you should be able to plug it in. I can just look real quickly, but I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah, I've tried everything, and it won't see it. I downloaded the drivers, and I could see the drivers on my Windows computer.
You don't need drivers. In fact, that can screw you up. So be careful. You want USB transfer mode. Here, there is a video. I'm actually looking at a video. How to enable USB transfer mode for OnePlus 8 Pro. Okay. It's a. I hate it when they make videos because now I have to watch this guy's silly video. Thank you, Dave West. He's given me a 3-minute video and something they could write one line. You don't need, but I'll tell you what, if you Google how to enable USB transfer mode for OnePlus 8, you'll find this. And you don't need to install a driver. Windows, I don't believe. Windows should be able to see it. God, why do people make these videos?
Nice and easily, and then you can transfer files to and from your computer and your phone without any problems whatsoever. In my case today, I'm using.
Okay, so he's saying it should pop up. You should pop up when you plug it in. So if it doesn't pop up, the cable you're using may not be a data cable. This is a secondary problem. The Type-C cables are not necessarily data capable. You're probably using a charging cable. If you use the cable that came with your phone, that should work. Otherwise, look for another USB-C cable because you need one that has data capability. That's almost certainly what's happening. He says you will see that pop-up, the one I was talking about, the mass storage pop-up when you plug it in. So if it merely starts to charge and you don't see that pop-up, that's not a compatible cable. That's all you need is a cable that's capable of data. This is a problem with Type-C cables. Oh, OnePlus uses proprietary cables? So find the cable that came with your phone. That's the answer. He's been everywhere. He's a traveling guy right now, traveling within the local confines of his vicinity, but normally he could be all over the world. Johnny Jet is here. JohnnyJet.com is his website. He helps us travel better with technology. I think you're doing what a lot of us are doing, getting to know our neighborhoods, our local resorts. You just were at a resort. Is this in Santa Barbara? Where is Terranea?
No, it's in Palos Verdes, Rancho Palos Verdes, which is 30 minutes south of LAX, along the coast. One of the most beautiful views. It's actually one of my favorite drives in the whole world, just driving along the coast there. And, we just spent 2 nights there. They hosted us, full disclosure, but it was, 4 pools, including a water slide. My kids were going nuts over it.
I think Lisa and I might just fly down and do that.
And they have a restaurant you have to go to called Nelson's. And they have free parking, by the way, at the resort where you can just go hike along the trails and then go to this restaurant, Nelson's, which has one of the best views around, especially between December and May when whale season is taking place.
Nice.
And you'll see 20 whales a day go by there. I love it. I mean, I've stayed there before, and I really love it.
It's named after, you know this, I'm sure, but it's named after Mike Nelson. Who's Mike Nelson? You remember Sea Hunt, Lloyd Bridges' scuba diving TV show?
Oh, wow.
You didn't know this? It pays. No. I'm looking at the website. Pays homage to Sea Hunt's main character, Mike Nelson, as well as actor Lloyd Bridges' lifetime efforts to protect the environment in the ocean.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I lived next door in college at these condos, and this used to be an empty, vacant lot after they had Marineland. Marineland used to be there, and they filmed so many TV shows. My roommate one night came in and goes, I almost ran Harrison Ford over. I mean, they were filming all kinds of movies.
Nice.
They filmed Lethal Weapon there, The Hunt for Red October.
Nice. This looks beautiful.
It really is. The location, you can't get better location.
All right.
So I highly advise it.
But for people who don't live in California, maybe actually more people out of California see it. California is advertising. Don't go anywhere. Take your vacation here. It's a great place to take a vacation. And I agree.
I do want you to stay in California. I agree. Listen, my whole life, I've lived in California for 30-something years, and I said, I'll travel California when I'm older. Right now, back then I was just traveling the world. I'd go to 20 countries a year, and now I haven't been to another country in over a year.
I say this to my wife all the time. People come from all over the world. We live in the wine country. They come from all over the world to visit. We're here. We should really see some of this.
Agreed.
So, what's up in your travel world these days?
So one of the great promotions this week is Air Canada. If anyone has elite status with a U.S. airline, you have to be a U.S. resident. They will match it, and they'll give you free elite status until the end of the year. If you take one trip from now until January 15th, they'll give you elite status for the following year. So I'm executive platinum on American Airlines, which is the second to highest tier. I fly over 100,000 miles a year normally with them.
Wow.
So they just matched me. It takes 2 minutes literally to sign up. You just have to put in your information and scan your card. And I'm now $75K on Air Canada, which is
Do you
a huge
get to
difference
keep that,
because-
though? I mean, is it just for this year?
And for next year, if I fly once to Canada, so Destination Canada, their tourism board got involved and sponsored it. So they're trying to get people to go to Canada, and they're trying to get, people who travel a lot and will spend money. But it's a huge savings for people like me. I would love to fly Air Canada nonstop between LA and Toronto, where my wife is from, but to buy seats for 4 people on nice bulkhead seats is $91 a piece. With this elite status, that's free. To check a bag is $30, $40 each bag. It's free with this status. So you can really save some money. I would definitely take advantage of it if you're thinking about going to Canada and if you have elite status, and you get into their really nice maple leaf lounges. So keep that. Speaking of some international travel, Australia is now opening up November 14th. They said December, now they moved it to November 14th. London and LA will be Qantas's first international flights. So that's big news. In Qantas, you have to be fully vaccinated to fly on their aircrafts. And now a senator in the U.S. just introduced a bill to try and require COVID vaccinations or a negative test for domestic flights. So we'll see if that happens.
You do have to wear a mask, so I feel like I feel pretty safe on an airplane even.
You do have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
More good news, the TSA lowered their pre-check online renewal fee from $85 to $70. So that's 20% off. So that started yesterday.
But you recommend, if you can, global entry because you get TSA pre, and it's a little more expensive, but you get much more if you travel internationally.
Global entry is $100 for 5 years. It includes TSA pre-check. If you travel to Canada like I do, you get their Nexus. It's $50 for 5 years and includes global entry and TSA pre. So that's the way to do it. But the problem is with Nexus is that you have to do your interview in Canada or at least one of their border towns.
Oh, man, I wish I'd done it when I used to go to Canada every month. But I've been to Canada in a while.
It makes such a difference. You just zip through. You just scan your eyes. I love it. I really do. Yeah. And what else is in the news today? Actually, speaking of Canada, Toronto and Copenhagen, Denmark, just came out as the 2 safest cities in the world. They just bumped Singapore and I don't know what the other city was. It was Singapore and Tokyo, I think.
Copenhagen's great. I love Denmark and I love Copenhagen. So that's
I'm part Danish. I don't know if you knew that, but
I knew it. I can tell. I can see it in your eyes. You look like you want to prune Danish right now.
Well,
not that kind of Danish.
Funny.
Do Danishes come from Denmark?
That's a good question. You would think so.
Why do they call them Danishes if they're not from Denmark?
They must be because they have really good bakeries in Copenhagen.
Oh, the best.
Including one Hansen's, which is
Does Solvang count? I think Solvang should count. That's
Solvang is
our little Danish
little town
in California.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah, that should count as Danish. They have good cookies.
Yeah, they make apple skivers and actually have a pan on the wall.
I have an apple skiver pan. Yeah, I have one.
Apple skivers, thank you.
Yes. Well, you can make them with apples.
And how much time we got?
You got 1 minute, 58, 57, 56, 55,
okay,
54.
My computer just froze and 53. I have a really good website. I don't know what's going on with this computer.
48, 27.
Well,
you called the right show. I should get the tech guy over here and he could help you.
I have no idea what happened to my Windows, but I do have some more news. United Airlines did terminate 593 employees who would not get vaccinated, but that's less than 1%, so that's huge. JetBlue said they're going to come out and make their employees as well. But American Airlines and Southwest, their pilots have really pushed back, so I would think twice about booking on American and Southwest this holiday season because they're talking about the pilots possibly striking, or at least causing, or not having enough employees to fly people around. So keep that in mind.
I just saw that Hawaii, 100% of people over 65 are vaccinated. That's so great.
100?
That is so great.
It's amazing.
You get the impression, because you see all the protests and people saying don't come and don't come, that maybe the vaccine programs aren't working, but they are in Hawaii. They're working very well. That's good.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah. How's your dad, by the way?
You know what? He's hanging in there. He just called me up. He's like, you got to get me out of this home. And I'm like, Dad, so I got to go visit him.
Yeah. Check it out. See what's going on.
I might have to go bust him out this week.
Have a chat with the nuns. And
I busted him out of there. He's not with the nuns.
Oh, he's not with the nuns anymore? No. Oh, good. But he doesn't like the new one. He just wants to go home.
He doesn't like anything right now.
Who would?
His back hurts. I can't blame him.
I don't blame him either. Johnny Jet. Go to johnnyjet.com. He's got lots of great stuff there. His articles, everything's free. His newsletters. You can subscribe and get airfare deals and all that stuff too. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter as well, @JohnnyJet. Thank you, Johnny. Safe local travels. We'll talk next week. So the pilots want to strike because they don't want to get the vaccine?
I don't know if they want to strike, but they're warning of definitely
because of the vaccine mandate.
Yeah. They don't want to be told what to do, and
do they make the pilots wear pants?
Yes, they do.
Do they make them wear little funny hats? Do they make them train how to fly the airplane?
Yes,
they make pilots do a lot of things.
I know, but
I bet they even make them have physicals every once in a while to make sure they're not going to pass out.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Well, unfortunately, it's become political.
Maybe I guess. When the vaccine first came out, I thought, well, maybe I won't be the first in line to get it. I wasn't, because I'm not that old. But by the time they've given, say, 500 million doses, I think we have a pretty good idea of its effectiveness and its safety. It's not a mystery.
Totally. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been getting the flu shot every year. I got the flu shot yesterday, a few days ago, too.
Yes, I'm about to get mine. Yeah.
Although I do think it's going to be not a strong season, because Australia didn't have one. They didn't have one the year before. I think people are, wearing masks and they're social distancing still.
You would think no one would get sick from anything, because we're all walking around like crazy. So Merck is going to do a pill, huh? Yeah. So people maybe people are scared of, those pilots, they're scared of needles. So maybe they'll do a pill instead.
The pilots are definitely not scared of needles.
Well, maybe they are, though. Let's not. Maybe
these guys are like some of the bravest people around.
Well, but they're scared of getting the vaccine. So how brave are they?
I just think it's more of a political statement than anything
like you
else.
Can't make us wear pants.
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
So the United Airlines did it right. They right in the beginning they said, this is our rule, and there was no wishy-washy, and they did it. And they also offered a big incentive. American had a pretty big incentive too. I think it was 13 hours of pay, or that was United.
Shouldn't have to bribe
13 hours of pay
to do the right thing. Good Lord.
Yeah, United Airlines gave 13 hours of pay to the pilots if they got the vaccine. 13 hours is a lot.
The Merck pill is a treatment, not a vaccine. Okay, so that's just a treatment.
And they're having a problem with these Abbott tests, these rapid tests. They can't make enough right now.
Yeah. Sigh.
I don't know what's going on with my Windows. Just froze.
Stop using Windows. That would be my advice, but okay.
I'm so used to using Windows.
All right. Thank you very much.
Leo.
My deal is, if you don't get the vaccine, you shouldn't be able to go to the hospital. That's all. That's fine. Just stay out of the hospital so I can get, if I have a heart attack, I can get in there. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Don't say I don't want to participate in medicine and then go to the hospital.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Take care.
The Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. John is on the line from Fallbrook, California. Fallingbrook is a Frank Lloyd Wright house. You are not in the Frank Lloyd Wright house. You are in Fallbrook. Welcome.
Yeah, but it may be falling too. But
well, we're all falling into fall. What can I do for you today?
Hey, I'm being pestered a lot on robocalls, and I continue to hear an advertisement about RoboKiller.
Yes.
And so I wanted your thoughts on what's the best way to prevent or to slow down these robocalls.
So, you know, the best way is if the FCC would do the right thing and we'd start really prosecuting and all this. They have started to make moves in those directions. Of course, sign up for the Do Not Call registry. The problem with most robocalls is these people are criminals, so they don't care what the Do Not Call registry says or doesn't say. Most phone companies now offer, usually for free, some sort of anti-spam blocking on their phones, on the cell phones. You're talking robocalls on your landline or on your cell phone?
On my cell phone.
Yeah. So the way RoboKiller and a variety of other systems work, to me, is kind of not what I want to do. You have to pass your calls through them, which makes sense, right? How would they block if calls didn't go to them first? So I believe, unless they found some other trick, you'll be forwarding your calls to them, and then they'll forward them back to you after filtering out the stuff you don't want. And it sounds like it's a pretty good system. They actually answer the call, so they're listening to the call and deciding if this is a bogus call or not. Kind of like what you would do, right? It's a shame that we have to even do this. Honestly, we need to find a better way to do it.
Well, a lot of the calls are from numbers that are not even in service. If I call back.
Oh, don't call back ever. Yeah. They generate random numbers, I should say. In fact, the real problem is that they are often using your area code and even your exchange. So if you're in the 413 exchange, they'll come from your area code 413 and a 4-digit number. Those are all spoofed. So it's very easy to spoof. You don't have to call from that number to get that number to show up on caller ID. It's very easy to spoof that. So don't call them back. Every once in a while, I'll get a call from somebody irate that I've been bugging them. And it's like, dude, don't you know how this works? It's not me calling you. Somebody else spoofing my number. So don't bother calling them back. That's just harassing somebody else. If you get somebody, most of the time it will be a bad number, because they're just doing a random number generator. Yeah, RoboKiller works. I wonder if there's some other good solutions. I've heard of quite a few. As long as you don't mind passing your phone number into their system and out again. But if you think about it, it's the only way they can do it. And it's not expensive. It's fairly inexpensive. So I would try it for free for a week and see if you feel comfortable with it. And if you do, that might well work.
So passing through, it's kind of seamless. I won't even know that it passes through.
That's right. That's exactly right. Once you set up the forwarding, you have to go through a few steps to set that up. There's another one that I'm more familiar with, NoMoRobo, NoMoRobo. I actually know the guy who set that one up, but I don't know. It's roughly the same price. He has a free version as well for landlines. So it's worth checking out both of them and see which one you like better.
Okay. Well, great. Thanks again.
You're welcome. And I would check with your cell carrier, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. They all have systems you may have to enable that may help as well.
I do get some that says potential spam, and it says...
Okay, that's their system.
And so it's already active on my phone, but it doesn't catch probably maybe 30% of them, right?
Yeah.
The ones generated out of my area, they almost never catch. But
oh, that's interesting. Yeah. You might try RoboKiller. The problem with the way the cell phone companies are doing it, unless you actually listen to each call, what you're doing is you're filtering unknown numbers. The problem is if somebody's randomly generating numbers, that's almost useless. So that's not going to work.
And do they roll it to my voicemail, or do they just hang up?
I don't know. You'll have to check. I think you have a choice, actually. You wouldn't want it on your voicemail. I think you would want them just to go away. Unless it's mom calling and No Mo Robo says, wait a minute, that sounds like a robot. So you're right. You might want...
My Carnival cruise director guy that sets me up on cruises, because he makes a lot of calls and an 805 number. It comes up as spam, right?
Yeah.
And if I would have missed this last one, I would have been a little upset. But
so yeah, you do want them to go through, don't you?
Yeah.
You want them to go to voicemail. Yeah. There's a technology the FCC is mandating, a caller ID authentication technology called Stir and Shaken. The problem is, the phone carriers don't really want to do this. It costs some money. So the FCC is moving fairly slowly to enforce it and so forth. But I think it's going to get better. The FCC said the providers have to implement it by last June. And there is there isn't a
then it was the 29th of this month or something. It was supposed to be enacted again.
Yeah.
Pushed off.
That's the problem. The deadlines keep getting pushed because if companies don't want to do it, and then they also have lots of loopholes. Unfortunately, Stir and Shaken, the big companies are going to use it, but the little companies aren't, and the big companies are worried about rejecting calls from little companies, even though those little companies are mostly used by spammers. It's a hard thing to do. I think we're getting better, but it's a hard thing to do. And so, RoboKiller or No Mo Robo, yeah. I give both of those a try. And you know what? Let me know how you like them. I'm actually very curious. Brian in Atlanta. Hi, Brian. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, I want my ZD TV.
Oh, those are the good old days. 1998.
Certainly were.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Well, what I'm calling you for today is my wife is low vision and is very dependent on Siri for booking Ubers. Until recently, it would work such that she would say, get me an Uber to contact name, and then Siri would prompt for additional information and launch Uber with the reservation in process.
Yeah.
So she would just wait for her driver.
This, unfortunately, has just changed with iOS 15. And I think it's a mistake.
14.8.
Really? Well, they may have already started it. Siri has stopped responding to a lot of commands. I don't know if this is intentional on Apple's part. My guess, it's a mistake. I think Apple says they're going to fix it in an update. So, yes, we had another call like this earlier. This is a problem. Siri has lost some capabilities. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I mean, so it happened to her on 14.8. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's been like 6 months since she's tried it. And yeah, we've got an old iPad running 12 that still does it. But it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so let me see. Yeah. It says, here's a story from Uber's latest update seems to... Oh, it's Uber. Uber seems to have removed some capabilities. Lyft works.
iOS 12 works.
That's interesting. I think Apple's messing with stuff, and it sounds like Uber might have also. So you have the latest version, but it may be that version is not as... Check to see if the versions match with 14.8 and 12, because it may be that Uber didn't update. And they are the same version. Okay. Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of news this week about iOS 15 taking away Siri capabilities. We had a caller last week that says, I can't ask Siri to read mail to me anymore. And that's the case. And it looks like iOS 15 is limiting Siri functionality with third-party apps as well. Okay, I'm looking at the Apple thing now. A number of Siri intents and commands will no longer be supported. Uber, you can't book a ride. Apple specifically mentions this.
Okay.
But wait, there's more. Let's see. So this sounds like a security?
Yeah, everything's security.
Yeah.
I listen to you and Steve and don't sleep much.
I know. So apparently, starting with the customer release of iOS 15, et cetera, some Siri kit intent domains will be deprecated and no longer be supported in all new and existing OS releases. Siri will reply that it can't support the request. Is that what Siri's saying to you?
No. When we said, give me a ride, she said, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. They took it out. And the most notable one, this is from a Mac Rumors article back in July when iOS 15 went into beta. The most notable one, users will no longer be able to book a ride, such as with Uber. Why? Why, Apple? Apple says
it's been a godsend for accessibility.
Yes,
and they just drove a stake through her heart.
Apple is rather quiet on why it's deciding to suddenly limit Siri's integration with third-party apps, especially as the companies blah, blah, blah.
Okay. I guess I'll need to try to find an iPhone 5 or maybe a 4 something.
Well, here's something. If you listen to security now, I know you're geeky.
Yeah.
You can do it in shortcuts. So it might be that what you're going to need to do is start building shortcuts for your wife that she can trigger with Siri.
Given things.
Yeah.
I could probably, for getting home, that's probably feasible.
Yeah, like Siri, get me an Uber home. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll look into that.
Yeah, the shortcuts allow users to create custom phrase that triggers a specific task for a third-party app. So the thinking is maybe Apple did this because they're trying to push you over to using shortcuts for this. That seems annoying.
Yeah, before I just had to make sure I had an address and a contact for her.
Gosh,
and
darn it.
Whatever.
That's so frustrating.
Oh, well.
So, but this would also require Uber to make those capabilities available as shortcuts. So what you're going to do is look in shortcuts to see what Uber commands you can issue. You might be able to literally create a shortcut that says dictate an address, and it will send it to Uber. So that it's because shortcuts can pause and ask for stuff like that. Let me also talk to Micah and Rosemary on our iOS today, because she's the shortcut queen, and see if they have addressed this and maybe come up with a solution. But this is very frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to drag them over the coals, except that I hate to do that to Apple because Siri's been such a godsend.
Well, exactly, and it seems very odd that they would take out. Now, last week when somebody called about this, I gave him the Apple accessibility number, and it might be worth calling their accessibility support, and at least, if nothing else, registering, hey, this is a problem.
Yeah, I guess so. We tried general support, and I got a whole lot of, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's what happened with this guy last week. Here's the number. This is accessibility support. It's 877-204-3930. They will at least know what's there and what's gone, and I think you probably would be a good place to call to register your upset and say, hey, this is a problem.
Really?
And if enough people do that, maybe Apple will sit up and take notice. It's kind of shocking. So I don't remember Apple taking away accessibility features before.
Yeah.
Some of these, apparently, Apple's saying, oh, that's a mistake, we're going to fix it. But at least call accessibility support and see what they say.
Cool. All right, well, thank you. One note, I ran through some math, and of general population who have died from COVID, I do it in parts per million, so you have real numbers to hold instead of some weird decimal. 2,000 people per million of U.S. population have died from COVID.
That's a lot.
People who've died from complications from the vaccines, 40 parts per million.
There you go.
So you're 60 times more likely to drop over dead from
COVID.
As have a problem. With the vaccine.
I'm surprised it's even that high. I think that the reason the 40 is just because people die for all sorts of reasons, and you can't. It's hard to.
There's that too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things where,
if you're giving 100 million vaccines out, it's not surprising that 400 people might die shortly after they get the vaccine. Whether it's connected to the vaccine, it's unclear.
Yeah. Well, this one was myocarditis. They pointed me to an article about
there you go.
Hundreds of people had myocarditis after getting the vaccine. Well, go to the CDC. The real answer is thousands of people have.
Yeah.
But that rate is lower than before,
Right. And those people might have had myocarditis with or without the vaccine.
Exactly.
They've yet to point to a contributory factor of the vaccine in myocarditis. So that's, people die all the time. And sometimes after the vaccine doesn't mean the vaccine did it. In fact, if you didn't die, then I would definitely get the vaccine. if the vaccine.
Thank you for all you do.
Hey, Brian, I really appreciate you listening. Thank you. Take care.
All right, bye.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about, anything with a chip in it. Computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888, ask Leo the phone number, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Website is techguylabs.com. I mentioned that because a lot of times I'll say, we're going to put a link in the show notes. That's where the show notes live, techguylabs.com. Free, no sign up. This is episode 1833. Just go right to that episode. It's divided up into hours, 1, 2, and 3. Each hour divided into segments, 1, 2, 3, 4. You go right to the segment you're interested in. You can even leave comments. So if you think you've got a better idea or you've tried, say, Robo Killer or Nomo Robo, and you want to let people know how it worked for you, that'd be a great place to do it. techguylabs.com. No charge, no sign up. Fred's on the line from Upland, California. Hello, Fred.
Hey, how you doing, Leo? I'm living the dream since March of 2020.
What is the dream?
The dream is I've been working from home.
March of 2020. Yeah, that date will live in infamy, won't it?
Yeah, it will. So, but anyway, I've got a much bigger problem here. So I talked to you before about network latency, and I switched my connection to cable for the internet.
And did that help?
It did a lot.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Good.
And but I still have a satellite TV, and the biggest problem I have is that I do record a lot of shows, and I really don't watch anything live, maybe 10%. And on the recordings with DirecTV, what I'm getting is in the middle of the recording, it'll freeze, or it'll say the server is disconnected, and the connection is coax to the recording device and coax to the HD device, but everything else is wireless. So is that problem with the wireless connection, and should I make those all coax, or should I change services?
So DirecTV has its own recorder, DVR. You're using that, right?
Yes, I am.
And you're that's set up as was specified by DirecTV with the coax and so forth. So that's the recording. That shouldn't have any trouble with it. I suppose it could be on the way to the TV. But that's interesting. I don't know what's going on. I don't have any experience with DirecTV's recorder, so I don't know. DVRs from the cable companies are notoriously bad. I imagine it's the same with DirecTV. Tell me again, what is the interruption? How does it look? Does it say it's buffering? Does it give you any?
No, so there's two problems. So from going from the DVR to the TV that I'm watching.
And is that wireless, that trip?
That trip is wireless.
Okay.
But it's only maybe 20 feet. And so I either get it freezes and then it starts back up.
Okay. That drops packets.
I get a server's disconnected.
Yeah.
And then when it reconnects, I have to actually go back, look for the recording.
That's the Wi-Fi. That's the wireless connection.
Okay, so I do have coax actually wired up when I did the installation. They had the wireless option, so I opted for that.
Yeah, because it's easier. But yeah, that is completely sounds like a wireless dropout. So you lose packets because the wireless drifts. You know, when you say wireless, is it an actual Wi-Fi connection or is it using a proprietary wireless transmitter?
No, it's a Wi-Fi connection.
It's Wi-Fi. So the way Wi-Fi works is causing this. It's a collision-based network, just like Ethernet, which means if other traffic is happening on that channel, the transmitter will go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt," and it'll stop. Just stop, and then at a random time restart. And if there's no traffic, continue. If there's traffic, it goes, "Oh, go ahead, please. After you." So there's this after you, Alphonse thing going on, and that's when you see a sudden freeze is because that packet is dropped. It stopped sending. And what probably happens, I'm suspecting is happening on the TV's end, is if that freeze goes on long enough, it goes, "I lost the signal. It's gone. I don't know what happened to it." So it's definitely a wireless interruption.
Okay, so I already have the coax in the walls because when I did a remodel of the house, the Wi-Fi wasn't available, and then when DirecTV came out, they offered the wireless, so I did that. So I could basically just hook all that up.
Yeah, if you can do coax directly and they handle that, I would do that. Yeah.
Okay, well then that's what I'll try out. And if that
sounds like a wireless problem. Yeah, you know, one of the things that kills Wi-Fi is people, because we're just essentially, from the point of view of Wi-Fi, big bags of water walking around, and it's a brick wall for them. They can't get through it. So that's another problem. If you can get the transmitter up higher, you know, everything in the receiver up higher, that might help. There might be repositioning some stuff will help. But if you've got the coax, take advantage of it. Wired is always better.
Yeah, I heard you say that after I did everything.
Well, wireless is always easier. Yeah, wireless is always easier. I've done the same. You know, I've done the same thing, and I always end up saying, "Oh, I should have just put it in wired. I'm going to wire it."
Yeah, well, the fortunate thing is now it was an open beam ceiling, and now it's all attic, so I can.
Oh, perfect.
Actually, if I wanted to pull Cat 5 or whatever through the house, I could.
Perfect.
But when I did it, I had them pull all the coax through to all the spots.
That's perfect.
I would want a TV.
That's perfect.
So
you're set.
I'll just hook those up.
Yeah, you're set.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Take care. Yeah. Wireless. It's amazing it works. Now, I have been told that the newer Wi-Fi versions, Wi-Fi 6 and 6E, are much better about interruptions. So, you know, when we all get to Wi-Fi 6 down the road, maybe that won't be as much of a problem. But yeah, wired's always going to be faster. Always going to be better, in my humble opinion. 8888, Ask Leo. Jim is in Los Angeles, our next call. Hi, Jim. Hey.
I've got somebody who can't see very well, and I wonder if there's a handheld text to voice scanner.
Oh, what a good idea. And so you would point it at the thing, it would look at it and read it. I mean, certainly Android and iOS have features like that built in, but you would want something a little more continuous, right?
Yeah, she has a handheld thing that magnifies the text so she can almost read it. But I thought if there were a voice thing in there that could read it to her as she scans, goes across the page of a newspaper or a magazine, and it read the text.
Actually, it turns out, and I had never heard of this, there are quite a few. So I'm looking at a website called Living Made Easy that has a list of text-to-speech scanning machines. And there are quite a few of these. So I haven't used any of them. I'm not going to know. I don't know which one's the best. There looks like one that would be very good because it uses the Daisy Player, which is a very good text-to-speech reader. Is called the Blaze Easy Multiplayer. But I'm not up on this. Maybe Julian Vargas, who's a regular listener and a blind listener who helps people with accessibility, he might have some suggestions. If you want to call, you can. But there are a number of these devices that do this. There's one called My Eye from a company called Orcam. You know, Microsoft had a wonderful presentation when it announced its new Surfaces with one of its accessibility people and the leader of accessibility there. And one of the things he said, which I loved, was we're all going to be disabled sooner or later. So everything we make that makes it easier for people with various abilities to use technology is going to benefit us all in the long run. This is a great example. Or this is an interesting one. Orcam, ORCAM.com, My Eye. You actually attach it to your glasses. Your glasses. Wow. Yeah. So it will. That is wild. I'm sure it's very expensive. That's the other problem with accessibility stuff is because it's often covered by insurance and so forth, the prices are sky high on these. Let me just check and see what the My Eye costs. It's a great idea. It attaches to your glasses. It reads to you, and then because it sees what you're looking at, what you're pointing at. Yeah, I can't even get a price without signing up. So that tells me it's pretty expensive. But there are, yes.
£100 to get the price.
Yeah, right, exactly. You got to give us your all your information if you want to find out what the money is going to be. Yeah. I don't know anything about him, Jim. Maybe somebody will call and maybe Julian will know. But keep listening. But I think there are some good solutions out there. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Mike on the line from Portland, Maine. Is it Micah? Oh,
that's who it is. It's your main man, Leo.
All right. We're going to get 2 calls in a row that are going to back us up on things we've talked about. Julian Vargas coming up to talk about text reading solutions. So you've used RoboKiller, Micah.
I use Nomo Robo.
Oh, okay. Oh, I remember you told me about Nomo Robo, in fact.
I may have. It came free as part with Uma, and it still comes free with Uma, which is another great service.
I agree, yeah.
But what I had to just turn it off because what it did is it blocked all the calls from my doctors.
Oh, that's no good.
Hospital group, part of Maine Med. And every call that came in from there was automatically blocked. So I called and tried to get that fixed, and they fixed it. They took the numbers off that I gave them, but they kept being added back on. Because apparently it's crowdsourced. And I don't know what happens, but they keep getting added. So it didn't work because I'd get a call, it would go to voicemail, and you know what it's like trying to call a doctor's group. You call back, and they say, leave a message, we'll call you back. And then they would call me, and it would go to voicemail, and then I'd call them.
Oh, how frustrating.
Yeah, it was terrible.
My doctor is always an unknown number. And I don't like that either. I understand why for privacy they don't want to say your doctor's on the phone, but I don't like to answer calls from unknown numbers. At least it goes to voicemail so I can call them back.
Right.
That's not good. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just not I haven't found it to be a good solution. I found it with other numbers too, but in particular when it was the entire Maine Medical Services Program, which is the largest hospital system in Maine, there's a real problem.
I think it's in general a problem. This is true of all spam fighting solutions. False negatives and false positives. False negative, where it gets through, even though it's spam, but the false positive might be worse, where it blocks something you want.
Absolutely. And I also, if you had a minute, I wanted to comment on something that Johnny talked about because he gave some great information about the global entry, the Nexus, and the TSA program.
Yeah.
And the Nexus program, as he said, is fabulous. You get all the services from TSA Pre, all the services from Global Entry, plus all additional services from Canada, and it's half the price of Global Entry. And I signed up for it, and I'm all set to do my interview, except I found out, and this is really important, and Johnny may not be aware of this, all the interview sites are closed and have remained closed for the past 6 months because Canada has closed down all the borders. So you can't get in to do the interview. I'm going to have to change over to Global, the extra $50 and get that. So, okay, it's fine. But it's just something that if people are going to sign up for it, they don't tell you that until after you've applied, you've given them your money, you've gone through the screening, and then you go to sign up for an interview and you find out none are available anyplace.
Oh, how frustrating.
Yeah.
How frustrating. Yeah. Micah, thank you as always.
Have a great day.
I appreciate it. You too. Now let me go to Julian Vargas. JV. Hey, JV.
Hey there. My ears are ringing again. So
I mentioned you. Just like Beetlejuice. If I say his name enough, he shows up. So you heard the caller. He was looking for a way that his partner, who is apparently going blind, can read text using a device that would read it out loud as she points it to it. Do you have some recommendations?
Right. So some of the things you mentioned are good, but as you also mentioned, they have what I call the blind tax, meaning that you pay so much more because it's a specialized device.
So frustrating.
So I always like to find and point people toward the mainstream options that exist that are free or very low cost. So, for example, if this person is willing to get an iPhone, even your basic iPhone, your lowest end iPhone will work fine with this. There's an app called Seeing AI. It's from Microsoft, and it is a collection of tools. It's like a Swiss Army knife of tools that help the blind and visually impaired access all kinds of information, including a live read option where they just point the camera and the camera starts reading what it sees. So this would be great. On the Android side, Google has a thing called the Lookout app, and it's a little confusing because it used to be an antivirus kind of thing for Android. But
that's what they used to call their antivirus, Lookout.
Yeah, I know. It's like there's not enough names to go around for these things. People have to copy each other's names. But yeah, it's called Lookout for Android. And it has a lot of these same tools. Also, there's Google Lens that's built into Google cameras that does a lot of this stuff as well. So with a real basic iOS or Android device, if they're willing to work with it or if they can work with it, you get a lot of these powerful tools for not a whole lot of money. But if they do want something more specialized, there are companies like Vispero as well as Humanware that make handheld magnifiers that also do OCR. So you might want to look at that as well. The Orcam is an interesting tool, and it has some good functions, but it's also extremely expensive.
Yeah, I figured since they wouldn't tell me without me giving them my name and address, it must. Do you know roughly how much it costs?
It's like that saying goes, if you have to ask.
Yeah,
we're talking roughly around like what is it, like $1,400 or something like that?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
it's not cheap.
Yeah.
So it can be useful for certain applications, but if this person can work with a smartphone, I really think that's the best way to go. And
it kind of figures because a smartphone has all of the smarts and a camera. You're already carrying something that has everything it needs, right? Seeing AI for iOS and iPad OS. Lookout by Google for Android, and you want to look for the one with the binoculars in the icon. That's the right one. Thank you, JV.
You're so welcome.
Let me give your web address another plug. You got to tell me again, though. I forget.
It's www.techjv.com.
www.techjv.
That's right. TCH, and then my initials.com.
See, if it started with JV, I would start typing JV, and it would always fill it in, but I have to remember to start with tech. Thank you, Julian.
Yeah, I figured, I wrestled with that. Do I go JV Tech? But then I thought, no, people will remember it by tech because it's related to tech. And
it's good. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's just me. It's just Leo's not too bright.
Okay.
TechJV.com. Thank you, JV.
Sure, you're so welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, bye.
Play that funky tech guy music. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, on the line right now from Chicago, Illinois. Carmine. Hello, Carmine.
Hey, Leo. I just wanted to say first that I'm a big fan of TWiT. Your guy, Micah, is just absolutely outstanding.
Oh, we love Micah. I can give you a...
The kid's got a very bright future ahead of him.
Well, I'm going to tell you something now that I haven't told anybody yet, but I'm going to make Micah my apprentice on the Tech Guy Show.
Oh, really?
Wow, that'd be great. He's shown some interest. As you know, I'm getting on in years, and while I don't anticipate retiring anytime soon. I think it'd be good to have somebody who kind of can take over for me. So Mike is going to sit in with me, I think, starting pretty soon, and help me out on the Tech Guy Show, add a little youth to the equation and some expertise too, because he's an expert on iOS and iPad OS and shortcuts and stuff like that. So it'd be good to have him. Yeah.
So I'd like you to kind of go on one of your long talks, if you can.
You know me so well, don't you?
About the differences. I'm thinking of getting into the world of EVs, and I wanted to kind of know what's the difference between level 1, level 2, and level 3, and like how long does each take, and how much will each one add to my electric bill if I decide to put one of those into my garage?
So your electric bill is tied to the watt hours that you use. So the difference in the charging levels won't change your electric bill because you're going to use the same amount of watt hours. It's just going to be the how fast, not watt hours, but wattage, how fast you use those, right? So in other words, level 1, which is basically plugging into the 120 volt circuit in your house, is going to take maybe a day or two to charge up a full 80 or 90 kilowatt hour battery. So it's the same amount of kilowatt hours, but it's just going to take longer. Kind of the good way to think of level 1, 2, and 3 is like water pipes. You're going to fill up let's say your EV, your electric vehicle's battery is like a tank of water. It might be easier to imagine it this way. It's going to use the same amount of water. Your electric company will charge you the same amount for that amount of water. Let's say it's 100 gallons of water instead of 100 kilowatt hours. So the cost of that water is the same. Now, that does change a little bit depending on time of day. Most electric utilities charge more during prime time. Here in Northern California, that's between 4 and 9 p.m. And so I wouldn't want to charge my car between 4 and 9 p.m. because the cost of the 100 gallons of water is double or triple what it would be in the middle of the night. So that's something to be aware of. But essentially, a level 1 pipe is the thinnest pipe. It's going to take a day or two to fill up that 100-gallon tank. Level 2 is fast charging, and it's 220, not 110. It's 220, and you can get it in your house. You'll have to put a higher amp circuit into your house. In fact, I have level 2 charging in my house, so you use 240 volts. It'll use a standard NEMA 1440 plug, which is the RV plug you see in some houses, or maybe if you have electric dryer, your electric dryer will have that. So you need that 40 amp circuit. You need 240 volts AC, and you plug into it. Many electric vehicles come with a level 2 charge plug so that you can use that. My Ford Mustang did, so did my Tesla. But my wife's Chevy Bolt did not. It came with a level 1 charger, which really is unusable. It just takes it would take more than all night. You need a charger that's at least going to get you full tank overnight. So you're probably going to want to put level 2 charging in your house. The good news is if you can get a 40 amp circuit, an electrician could come out, put a NEMA 1440 plug on there, and then you could just plug in the cable that came with your car. And for the Bolt, we just went out and I went online and bought one. I think it was about $200 to get a cable I leave plugged in. Level 3 is DC fast charging. So notice up to now we've been AC, just like the circuit that comes into your house. Unless you want to put in a lot of equipment in your home, you're not going to be doing level 3 or higher charging because your home is supplied with AC electricity. Level 3 is really the kind of charging that you'll see when you go out and about at the Tesla superchargers or the electric charging stations you'll see at the mall from Electrify America and places like that. The speed of that will really vary. In theory, it's 480 volts DC. But I've just, in personal experience, I've noticed that can really vary. You go to a level 3, what is ostensibly a level 3 charger, and it's going to be half that speed and so forth. But typically, maybe this is the most important thing, that 100 gallons of water in your tank will take over 12 hours to fill on level 1 charging. With level 2 charging in your house, it'll take 4 or 5 hours. And with level 3 charging out and about as you go about, it's going to take much more like an hour. Most of the time when you do the level 3 charging, you don't charge up all the way. You'll charge the first 80%, get to 80%, then head on out. Most cars, electric vehicles, will slow down after 80% to protect the batteries.
Sounds good. So I drive about 30 miles back and forth to work every day. And so if I do the level 2 charging, how much range would I get for example, for maybe how many range per hour would I get for level 2?
So it doesn't matter how much you drive. You're asking the right question, which is how fast does it fill up? With a gas tank, 3 minutes and you're full. Batteries are a little slower to charge. So if you want it, and again, this is going to depend on the car you get. The Chevy Bolt maybe is 150 miles. The Teslas might be as much as 300 miles. So a Tesla, 300 miles, level 2 charging is probably going to take 8 hours to charge it all the way up. But the point is, in most cases, overnight will be ample. And if you only drive 30 miles a day, you might not be charging but once a week.
Right. That makes sense.
Yep.
Or I could charge every night for 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I think people... when you're comparing it directly to filling up with gas, yes, it looks like it's taken a long time. But you don't usually fill it up out and about unless you're going on a long road trip. Most of the time, you're just filling it up at home by plugging it in when you get home at night.
Yeah, it's really good for people that have single-family homes and garages. I'm not sure how it would work.
It's harder for apartments, yeah. And I think that's one of the things we've got to get going, which is to get apartment buildings and other buildings. I see this a lot in commercial development here in Northern California. Petaluma, the town I'm in, is the first town to ban gas stations. They've actually banned new gas station construction. And as a result, I'm starting to see electric chargers go into a lot of commercial construction. The presumption being, well, people, I guess, are going to be buying electric cars, and we do see a lot of Teslas around here. If you're going to have it at home, you're going to want to upgrade to a level 2 charger at home for sure. And then when you look at the car, it'll give you an idea of how fast the charging is. It really does vary depending on a lot of factors, but maybe 12 miles an hour, something like that. That's about right. So 30 miles in 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, you'd fill it up for the amount you use that day. So you're going to plug it in every night. And of course, it stops charging once it's filled. It doesn't keep using electricity. It is important to remember that the electricity is not free. In fact, in California, it could be very expensive. I don't know how it is in Chicago, but in California, it can be very expensive. So, you definitely want to include that in your costs. In the long run, it's cheaper than gasoline, but, that's one of the reasons we put solar panels on the house, because you want to generate as much of your own electricity as you can. Plus, that's good for the environment. It's a little annoying. The local utilities here in California won't let you generate more electricity than you use. They don't want you to go into competition with them. I'm not going to compete with you, PG&E. I just want to generate electricity for the good of humanity. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the disco tech guy, and here he is dancing onto the floor, looking good in his satin pants and his wide-open shirt, Mr. Dick Debartolo, Mad's maddest writer and our disco wizard. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing?
I am very well. Dick joins us every week with a gizmo or a gadget because he spends all his hard-earned money on crazy stuff. And he's got to make it tax deductible, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Oh, I know. I understand. That's why I got in this business in the first place. What are we going to look at today?
Okay, so I'm taking you back to 2007.
Oh, a very good year.
Okay, a weekly Daily Gizwiz show where we talked about a gadget from the company called Flybar.
Flybar.
Does that ring a bell?
Is it a hover bar, a mixologist's stream?
No, Leo.
A place to make my tequila sours in the air? I don't know. What is a fly bar?
No. Okay, so it was this high-tech, bizarre pogo stick.
Oh, is it for what?
Well, it had this monster spring in it.
Oh,
I
wanted one of these. I remember.
Yes, you did. I think you brought one for Henry.
I think I did, actually.
Yes,
I bought one.
Yes.
Henry's still with us, thank goodness.
Yes, exactly.
Holy
this was
cow.
pre-video days. Anyway, so there was an in-person toy event this past week.
Yes.
And I see Flybar. And I said to the guy, I have not heard that name in years. What do you have? And he says, we have bumper cars for tots. Bumper cars.
For what? For children?
Kids.
For little kids.
Leo, these are so much fun. They are from 1.5 years to 4 years. Can hold up to 60 pounds.
Oh, I know where
Now,
they got the idea. Because I've seen people strap their children to the Roomba vacuum cleaners. That's where they got the idea for this.
I think that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I saw a guy put roller skates on a laundry basket and put his and put his kid in it.
Do you think it's safe?
You know what? Well, they're selling them, so I don't know. Where.
Well, goodness knows nobody ever sells anything that's dangerous. Oh, it doesn't go very fast, does it?
No, 1 mile an hour.
Okay.
1 mile an hour. It has a seat belt.
Oh man, there's a lot of little kids I know would kill for
Oh
this.
my gosh, I said to the guy, this is going to be a big seller. And then he told me a very funny story. They built an adult size one to take with them on sales trips.
Yeah.
And he said, our 3 biggest customers want us to build this. So next year we will have bumper
adult
cars
size
for adult.
Oh. Well, now tell me before I get all excited, these got to be pretty expensive.
Well, you know what? I was amazed. Don't buy it on the company website because I think it's $169. They have an exclusive deal with Walmart, $99.
Oh. But you can't have one because you need a bumper car to bump into.
Yes, you really do. You really do. And
how long can you drive it? It's a 6-volt battery.
You know what? I did not ask him.
Because it's going to be frustrating if you can only do it for 10 minutes and then the kid's got to start charging.
It says that spare batteries are available.
Oh, okay.
And
all
it comes with a little, just a regular AC wall charge, 120 volt wall charger. Does 360
Did you actually get
turns.
to do this?
You know what? The guy demonstrating it was in it, and I thought, I don't want to disturb.
So this is the adult one that they made.
This is the adult one.
Because I see next to it the little one, which is you couldn't even fit your one butt cheek into, let alone both.
No. It's 66 pounds.
Can I say that on the radio? Am I violating FCC rules? I don't know. All right.
The word butt?
Butt? I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Yes, you can say butt.
Okay. So I have from on high, the boss says it's okay. She didn't dump us out.
Oh, my word. With what they're saying on network television now?
It's a good point, yeah. Oh, this is really cute. This is really cute.
Isn't it? I think it's a great idea.
$99 is surprisingly affordable. I mean, I would have thought this would cost more like $300 or $400.
So did I. So I said to the guy, so what is this going to retail for? He said, at Walmart, it's going to be $99, and I looked on his on the company website. I think it's $149 or $159.
Wow!
And I like the LED flashing lights at the bottom.
And do you think a kid would? In their videos, the kids aren't wearing helmets. You don't think the kid would get thrown from this thing?
You know what? At 1 mile an hour. Even when you see them bumping it, it's not like they go catapulting forward.
Yeah. If we buy some, though, I'll get Burke to modify it so they can go faster.
Oh, I would think that's a given.
Take the governor off of that one.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
If you are interested, this is, you know what? I think this is another hit from the Flybar folks.
I knew.
Do they still sell the Super Pogo Stick?
They're on their website, so I guess they do. I guess they like just doing things that are really kind of
fun,
creative, and fun. Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly.
They're a toy company.
The funny thing is, I thought, do kids even know what bumper cars are? because
yes,
we had.
They have them now. No. I was on a cruise ship that had bumper cars on it.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Oh no, they still have bumper cars. Are still a thing.
I thought you were going to say you were on a ship that did bumper boats.
Well, yeah.
You need really big fenders.
There is a bumper boat. There are places where you can do bumper boats.
What?
Yes. You should, now that you've sold your boat, you should probably do it. Bumper boats.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I bought Henry the Fly Bar Pogo Stick. I remember that. Flybar.com.
Yes.
But really, the best thing to do would be go to Dick's site and find out all about it before you buy. Go to gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz. There's lots of stuff there. If you click the blue link that says the GizWiz visits the tech guy, that'll take you right to all the list of things that Dick has mentioned on the show over the years. And I do mean years. We're close to 20 years doing this together, Going back to Tech TV.
Yeah. Oh, yes. No. Oh, my gosh. Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. 20 years. We've been talking about crappy gadgets together.
Crappy fun gadgets.
Fun gadgets. Gizwiz.biz. While you're there, take a look at Dick's blog and log and his Gizwiz garb edge that he calls it, with LED hats and all sorts of things, Mad Collectibles, Match Game. He's got that great book, Good Days and Mad. You still have some copies of that left?
I do. I'm down to my last box.
I bet you are. So if this is a collectible, Dick will autograph it. The story of his many years at Mad Magazine, lots of great Bill Gaines stories in there. All of it at gizwiz.biz. And of course, Dick does a wonderful podcast with Chad Johnson, entirely made up of stuff like this. It's called The GizWiz Show, and it's at gizwiz.tv. So, thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful... you've actually now eclipsed us, by the way. Your GizWiz was 1,851. We're only at 1,833, so you're
but you're
speeding
doing 2
ahead.
a week. You're catching up.
Oh, I'm catching up.
Yes.
What a race this has been.
Because you're doing 2 a week. We're doing
better
1 a
than
week.
Formula One. I'm about to pass him again.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
Thank you, Dickie D.
Okay,
Have a great
buddy.
week. Take care.
You too.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time. Have a safe Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.